Good afternoon. I wanted to just get on here, do an update, kind of where we're at. It's kind of things I want you guys to kind of think about, and I hope they make sense. And I mean everything with good intentions. And so I know we wrapped up today, and I'll let people jump on here. You guys can hear me. Please let me know. That's how kind of how we get this thing out to others. And so I just want to kind of touch base on kind of what happened, what I noticed, and obviously this is all stuff that comes, via people sending me text messages and everything like that. And hey, Scott, so thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. So I'll let people jump on here if you guys can hear me. And so kind of what I want to think about is we finished up today. So we had closing arguments today. From what I hear is it went really, really well. And so one thing, like kind of the focus for tonight is we got through this hurdle. And so now we have some time to wait. Okay. So one thing it's going to be really, really hard is for us to be patient. And I totally get it. I understand. I want a decision today or 2 days ago, right? But unfortunately, that's not in our best interest. And so when I talk about our best interest is to relax, take a deep breath, let the judge do what he needs to do, and come up with the right decision. Okay, and we don't need it right now. We need it to be right, and the reason we need it to be right is because there's so much weighing on this, and so this is going to go to the next court. This is going to be appealed, and so we need it done right, and so we have to be patient. And so that's that. That's kind of my message for tonight. Is obviously I want to celebrate the work that Tony did, because Tony did a tremendous job. Everybody that briefed me the whole time I was gone, and from what I did see, I mean, the guy's a rock star, and so we should celebrate the victory there. And so we want to make sure that we hold our head high and pray for him and pray for all of us, because he really was the tip of the spear. He was the one in the courtroom. He was the one that was arguing our case, and he did a really, really spectacular job. And so absolutely patient, not complacent. Yeah, for sure. And so it's out of our hands. We did everything that we had to do in this situation. Our attorney did really good on our behalf. So it's out of our hands. And so one thing I want to focus on is we're going to have some downtime. We're going to be waiting, and it's really, really important that we're patient and understand that, this is going to take time for this to be the right decision. I'm hoping it goes in our favor. From everything that I saw, from the other side's testimony and their expert witnesses, I feel in my heart that this is going to go the right direction. And so however long it takes, we're fine with that. And the reason I say we're fine with that, because this thing, let's say this thing takes a year. I mean, it's not going to take a year, but that means there's no change to our gun law and so our gun laws, so, that's why I don't want to freak out right now. I know the patience is going to be, it's going to be a challenge, and because we want to know, what our fate is. We want to know what we can do. We want to know if we can go buy a gun. We want to know if we can still carry our 17 round magazines without any kind of threat of criminal penalty. So there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of emotion that's invested in that. But at the end of the day, we're good, because the longer this ruling takes, the better off we are, because obviously he's going to have a good record that's going to be established for the next court. Also, none of this stuff goes into effect. And so, just enjoy the fact that we got through this little hurdle and this little skirmish in court, and our attorney did an amazing job. And so, that's where it's really, really important. Is we got to be patient. We got to stay up to date, keep our heads up, understand that we fought the fight, and our dog in the fight did a tremendous job. And so, we're going to celebrate that. And so, but I just want to make sure that you guys understand that, this is not going to happen overnight. We're not going to get this decision overnight, and it's going to take time, and which is fine. And we're going to have to just realize and suck it up that we don't know what we don't know. And so, that's the only thing I can kind of impress upon you guys today is it's going to take time, and it's okay to take time, because we want it done right. And so, that's where I'm at. I want to make sure that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be very, very specific here. Okay. I know there's going to, we could say a couple, well, I'm going to say 3 or 4 weeks down the road, there's going to be people that are going to be impatient. They're going to be submitting comments to the group. Like, has anybody heard a decision yet? They're going to be like, we're not going to allow stuff like that in the group. Okay. We're not going to allow stuff to take away the focus. The focus is we need to be fighting forward, right? So we should be looking at stuff that's happening in the legislature. They're getting ready to fire up. There's a legislature day this coming week, and so we should be kind of looking at that and figuring out, how much time we want to dedicate to that. So there's always little fights that we can fight, and so at this point we need to just take a few minutes and just So here's where we're at. I'm going to follow up with this. So yes, the judge now is deliberating. So our side did a great job from what I hear. I didn't get to see any of it because I was on a plane coming home from Arizona. And so everything I heard from, Scott Springer, I heard from Chris. I also heard, from Tony's parents, which was really, really nice. I talked to Tony's mom and gave her a nice little pep talk. And, everything I want to do is just, we got to stay positive. And it's really, really easy because this is such an emotional type situation. It's really, really easy to feel defeated. And what we have to realize is this thing was passed on November 8th and it still hasn't gone into effect. Okay. So this is a victory for us. And so, it hasn't been ruled. It's not going to be ruled for time in any short term. It's going to be 30 to 60 days, in reality. And so we just have to be patient and just understand that nothing has changed. We can go about our daily routine. We can do what we want and everything is okay. And so, obviously we're praying and hoping that we get the decision that we need, which is this thing thrown out as being unconstitutional. And so that's where we're hoping to, get that ruling. Until then, the TRO stays in place and nothing goes into effect. And so, the thing is this is going to go on to the next court. So we need this record to be strong. We need it to be bulletproof, which I feel that the way he presented the evidence and the witnesses and everything like that, I feel that it was well done. And the other side, they're really weak. So absolutely. This one right here, excuse me real quick. Got the wrong one. This one right here. They are, the longer this thing is set out and we don't get the ruling, that's when we're going to start seeing the other side start rattling cages. We're going to see the media. We're going to see letters to the editor saying that, oh my gosh, this judge hasn't ruled. How many lives have been caught? Yada, yada, yada. We all know what they're going to do. Okay. So we can't feed into that. We have to play our game, and our game is to focus on upcoming bills in a short session, right? In the legislature. We should be identifying people that are going to run. We should be identifying solid candidates that we can support to make sure we get elected to protect or pick up seats in the House and the Senate. So these are things that we should be focusing on. This Measure 114 is out of our hands at this point, and we did everything that we had to do to make this happen. And so, we just gotta make sure that we got to be patient, and I can't stress that enough. And I hope you guys understand that, the way I look at this thing, because I see it from a big picture, right? I just got back from the Gun Rights Policy Conference where I was there for the whole weekend. I cannot tell you enough good things about that. And so, I brought it up earlier in the year saying, hey, this is where I go every year. I'd love to see you guys go. I didn't see, there was maybe one person from Oregon, and I think he was, but it was a great weekend and a great weekend of learning. My tank is full. My heart is good. And yeah. So, and so that's where I want to make sure that we can keep up this momentum, and so I learned a lot this weekend. I met some great folks from around the country that are doing the work. And so, that's kind of where I'm at. And so let me look at this question. This question right here. What can we or should we be doing right now? So right now, what we should be doing is we should just take a deep breath. Okay. We should understand that this is in the judge's hands. We need him to, give us the ruling that we need to protect, because this is going to go to the next court for appeals. And so that's going to go to the Oregon State Supreme Court, and so we just need to take a deep breath. Okay. We need this done right, and we don't need it tomorrow. Okay. So just take a deep breath. Until then, we can do what we do. We can carry 17-round magazines. We can go buy guns without a permit to purchase, all these things. So nothing's gone into effect. So Measure 114 is dead in the water until further notice. Okay. So what that means is, until we get word from the judge, the status quo, the law of the land is there is no Measure 114. Okay. Because that TRO is in place, which is a great thing. Okay. So, one thing we should be looking at is we should be learning. I don't know if I can do it tomorrow or the next day, but I'm going to put together a detailed list of all the organizations from around the country. Okay. Everybody that I met with this weekend, I put the New Jersey, my friend Alexander there. What they do is they go into the legislature, they wear hidden cameras like Project Veritas, and they record them, and they blast them on social media. They are very, very active in that state, because they have to be, because they really are close to having everything taken from them. And so, they're a great organization. Another one, the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus, that's another one that we should be following. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this list together of all these people that I trust from around the country. What I want to see is we go connect on either Facebook or Instagram. We start following them. We start seeing the tactics. We start learning from what they're doing in their state. Okay. And then what we'll do is we're going to figure out a way to incorporate it here in Oregon. Okay. So, obviously the biggest thing that we can do is we can learn, and we can learn from other people. I plan on bringing Holly Sullivan, which, she was the one I just published that she was the newest member of the Citizens Committee to Keep and Bear Arms. That's the Second Amendment Foundation. And so I'm going to bring her on here. She's the president of the Connecticut Citizens Defense League, an amazing woman. Okay. These people can teach us a lot of things. And so, so we have a little bit of downtime. This is the off season now, right? In between the legislature starting, right, and the end of Measure 114 deliberation. So now we need to start training. Now we need to start figuring out what we can do to push this thing and push other legislation, forward if we have something. And so, that's kind of where there's a lot of stuff to do. And, one thing that was really, really evident this weekend when I was gone is, thank you. Whoever put that in there. 100. Thank you. Thank you, Kay. And so what we'll do is I'm going to put together a detailed list of all the people all the kinds of, there's Florida Carry. Check them out. Florida Carry is doing big things in Florida. Okay. Those are some of my friends there. So Goal, Gun Owners Action League in Massachusetts, they had 4,000 submitted testimony against this big monster bill that they have going in their legislature. They shut it down. Okay. This is in Massachusetts. Okay. And if this doesn't fire you up, I don't know what else to do, because I'm fired up. And so I want to win. I'm sick of this stuff. We've given all we're going to give. No more compromise. So let's figure out how we win going forward. Another one, Dan Wass from New York. Okay. He's a great resource for us, and I'm going to start putting his stuff in here. So we're going to start learning, and we're going to learn from others. And we're also going to connect with these other groups. Okay. I'm working on putting together a coalition. So we're going to start sharing information across state lines. We're going to start building coalitions and figuring out how best to share information. Yeah. Thank you, Kay. You're my hero. Keep dropping those in there. So check out Goal. So Gun Owners Action League. They are in Massachusetts. Another one that's a good one is the VCCDL. So the Virginia Citizens Defense League. So actually there's one C. Okay. That's another good one. And there's also the AZCDL. So that's the same thing. So we can start dropping all those in here, and we can start looking at their social media. Okay. We can start studying what they do and what's working for them as we're waiting for the judge to give us the ruling we need. Okay. So, That's all I wanted to do, is to give a positive message today that we got through this. Okay. Our attorney did an amazing job, and we should celebrate and praise him, but we also need to wait, and we need to make sure that, this wasn't built overnight, and this took a lot of time and effort and energy to get it to this point. What's 60 days? Okay. So yeah, Kyle, absolutely correct. We should be so I need to identify, I think it's Senate District or House District 42, Kyle, because I heard some rumblings when I was in a meeting of them trying to replace their PCP up there because the lady is totally crap in the bed, and so there's trouble in Paradise there on House District 42. And so we should be looking that up and figuring out what we can do to attack. We should be going on the offensive at this point. Okay. We should be preparing to move this football in a direction that they're not going to be prepared for. And so, that's all I'm trying to get at here is we have some time. We got some really good information on the record, and just let the judge do what he's going to do. And just know that nothing has changed. Nothing is going to change for right now. And so we have a pause, and so celebrate that and just take a deep breath. Okay. Another thing is take a deep breath. Hey, Larry, how you doing, Larry? And take a deep breath and realize we got this far. Okay. We, as an organization, as Oregon gun owners, got this thing with the help of our attorneys. We got one case that's going to the ninth district in federal court, right? And then we have the state court. We're waiting to be deliberated, so there's some things that are working in our favor. And so, it's really, really easy to be defeated. And I get it, because it's always the uncertainty. It's always the uncertainty where you start thinking about things. You're like, man, was that really the right thing? So there's always a way that we can hindsight's always 2020. And so in this situation, we need to focus on the horizon and not what's behind us. And yeah, I really agree with that. So I thought Tony Rock did today. From what I heard, he did a tremendous job. And so absolutely, there's no permit to purchase. So if we hold the line with Measure 114, 2005, that part is done away with. Okay. So, 2005 already should be challenged, and we've already been in talks about that being challenged, because that is unconstitutional because of rulings that have come out recently about us being able to still continue to build guns under our 2A rights. And so this thing is a bad bill. It's junk. There's no severability clause. So this is amateur hour. Okay. The Oregon legislature. So if we strip off one part of it, let's talk about the permit to purchase. If that thing gets thrown out of Harney County, this whole 2005 gets thrown out. Okay. There's no severability clause in there like there was on 114. Okay. So that's what was dangerous about Measure 114, is they could keep the magazine part and do away with the permit to purchase, and part of it would stick. Okay. So they got greedy, and, so now we're in this situation. So, the problem is the people that wrote it in the legislature, they're amateur hour. I guarantee they just copy and pasted that permit to purchase part of it and put it into 2005. I guarantee there was no forethought there. It was just amateur hour. So, sorry, I'm getting blown up here. So that's kind of what I want to focus on is just celebrate how far we've come with this situation. Okay. And it hasn't been easy. It's been a challenge. There's been lots of hours. There's been lots of travel. There's been lots of things that have gone into it and there's lots of resources. I mean, tremendous amount of resources, so it just celebrate the fact that it's not going to be law right now. And so that's all the thing I can say is I'm going to keep my head. I'm going to anticipate us getting the ruling, even though that's a real gamble for me, because I know people are paying attention to what I say. But I really want to. I want to stay upbeat. I don't want to get into a mindset of a loser mindset. Okay, I want to win, and so when I win is when I stay focused on all the other stuff that I can control or try to influence. Right. So there's going to be a time where we're going to have to fire up those emails, and we're going to have to write the legislature. We're going to have to clock in. Okay. So it's going to be a really good idea for right now to get this practice in and understand, learn from these other organizations, okay, from around the country. And so at GRPC this weekend, there was a big focus on the big orgs like Second Amendment Foundation, GOA. There's a big focus on them, but there was also a tremendous focus on the local state organizations. Okay, so in our state we have Oregon's Firearms Federation. Okay, and so he's our dog in the fight, but there's all of us right here. We're kind of a we have a pack set up, but I haven't had the bandwidth to go forward with it. It's everything's set up. We don't have funding. We're just lacking kind of direction. It's there. I just don't know what to do with it at this point. I need probably people to step up and get involved. Okay. So yeah, we always got to be positive. That's the thing is I'll never ever, you'll never see me sweat on this situation. Okay. Cause I know there's a lot of people that hang on to my words, and I appreciate that. But I don't want to give people fake hope, false hopes. But I also want to be reasonable, and I want people to feel that they can get behind a message. And so, that's, yeah, for sure. Thank you, Brian. That's a great point. There's so many cogs. There's so many cogs to this wheel. And so, we can only control what we control. What we can't control, we can control the way we react. We can control the fact that we can wait that 60 days until we get that ruling. That's the only thing we can control this situation. Everything else is out of our control. It's all in God's hands and the judges. Okay. So, I feel deep down from what I've seen that we are going to be on the right side of this. I really do. And I hope I don't eat those words. But I don't feel that the state of Oregon proved their case in state court, because there was a different burden of proof in the state court. And I definitely believe that the federal trial was 100% wrong. And so she should either re-rule, that whole thing should get thrown out. And so I'm hoping that's what we can do. And so, yeah, we have to start moving in unison. Okay. We've come too far. Let's paint this picture real quick. Okay. Let's paint this picture for where we were at as Oregon gun owners over a year ago. Let's say a year and 3 months. Okay. Let's just say that. I feel that we're light years ahead of where we were that long ago. Okay. I feel like the guys that are, sending emails, the guys that are navigating OLIS, the ones that know their representatives, the ones that are contacting their representatives, the ones that are having meetings, all this stuff, that's a victory for us. Cause we, for the longest time, we didn't get involved. We always thought somebody else was going to come save us. And then we realized there was nobody coming to save us but us. And so I really, really am glad that we finally are starting to come around. And I feel like the state of Oregon and this group is like the Titanic, and we're trying to do a 90-degree turn with the Titanic, right? So we want to turn really quickly, but we can't. It takes time. It takes resources. It takes training. It takes all of this stuff. And I feel that we're people are waking up. People are paying attention. People feel good about things because they feel that this isn't hopeless. Like, we're not hopeless if we get involved. We're hopeless if we don't get involved. And that's where we're going to lose. And so, that's where we have to go, is we have to just take a deep breath, understand tomorrow's a new day, and then we're going to fight again somehow. I don't know what it looks like tomorrow, but we should prepare for that. Okay. There's really the other side. They're preparing. They've been really, really quiet. I guarantee it. If they don't get the the ruling that they think that they're entitled to because of all of their quote unquote hard work and all that outside money, they're going to come back with something else. They're going to come back with, they're going to come after your semi-automatic rifles. Okay. Every one of them. And they're going to make it a criminal penalty. That's what they've learned here over any other state. Okay. We were the first state where we induced these criminal penalties for having a magazine that held over 10 rounds. Everywhere else, it was grandfathered in. Now, all the other states around the country are starting to follow suit and now make it criminal penalties. Okay. So, we learn, our knuckleheads learn from other states, and then those other states are learning from our knuckleheads, so, that's kind of where I'm at, Thank you, Dan. It's just, talk is cheap. And I don't know if about you guys, when I say something, I do it. I'm a man of action. That's why I've gotten this far. That's why I'm in this position that I kind of created for myself. I kind of made this position. I'm like told myself that this is what we're going to do, because of my experience and the network that I have. And so it's because of the work that I put in. This was my 6th GRPC. Okay. This is my 5th in a row that I've been speaking at this conference. Okay. And I tell you what, when I got off the stage on Sunday, I had business cards flying at me. I had guys in the industries that are, 2A, one of the best writers in this country, when it comes to 2A, coming up and shaking my hand saying they want to help and do a story. It's stuff like that. Just like my prayers were answered, but I got to follow up and put in the work to make everything happen. But the fact is they were on notice because my message resonated with that crowd, and that crowd are people that really are my heroes. And so it was an honor to be up there on that stage and be able to talk about something that I know a lot about. And it's something that's really, really important to me. And so the fact that I was on stage giving my speech, and I had Jeff Knox. Jeff Knox, you guys can Google him. He's a guy out of Arizona, tremendous writer. I look down as I'm giving my speech. He's right in front of me. He's taking pictures of me with his phone, and he gives me this thumbs up. And I'm just like, wow. Because I've known Jeff Knox for years. We talk, but it's never been like something like that. And so, at that point, as soon as I got done, then the business cards started flying. I had, legislators from Arizona reaching out to me, wanting my help when it comes to a gun safety bill for their state. And then Jeff Knox came up to me and shook my hand and said, I dropped the ball because I had been in talks with him about helping us with a story, and he fell off the face of the earth. So I had correspondence with him. He goes, I really made a mistake and I'm sorry for that. And he shook my hand, and I'm like, well, okay, well, I'm gonna hold you to it. So, but I was just joking, but it's the fact that, that really meant a lot. I had a couple of members of the Second Amendment Foundation board of directors that came up to me after the thing and, shook my hand, and they were thankful to have me there and for me to share my message. Cause my message about not today, tomorrow, my message is about the next generation. Okay. This is not a 1-year fight for me with you guys here in Oregon. This is a generational fight for me and with you guys. And so, the Biden Harris thing, Dave Workman, I ran into him this morning, hung out with him a little bit this weekend, but I ran into him at the airport, and we had a great conversation, and I took out a little selfie because I had just gotten an email on AmmoLand, and there he was. I'm like, hey, this is you. He goes, oh yeah, I submitted that the other day. And so we talked about his thing, and, and it's just, the doors are opening, and we got to stay focused. We got to stay positive, and we got to stay together. Okay. One of my friends gave a speech. A couple of my friends gave a speech about, unity, right? It's not me, it's we. Okay. It's not me, it's we. Okay. And so, that's something that really, really resonated with me, because that's the way I look at it. It is not me here. It is we. And so, That's kind of where I'm at. Is I want people to be jacked up. I want people to feel my energy from as tired as them, because I was up at like 2 a.m. Phoenix time, which is an hour ahead. So I was up at 1 a.m. this morning, and I've been on the road all day. But I'm here. So I just want you to feel. I just feel the positive vibes that are coming out of my voice, and let's say a prayer for Tony and our state, and you know, let's just stay focused. So that's kind of where I'm at. So, any questions, comments, concerns, how do you guys feel about what I'm trying to say? Do you feel that, do you feel like I'm hitting the mark with this message? Is this something you guys can get behind? Cause that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm sorry, getting blown up. It's like being gone and being away from my office where I couldn't effectively do what I do, was tough. And I'm glad I was able to be there for you guys and, um, you know, give you the updates, and because it helps me, this all stuff helps me. Everything I'm doing helps me and it helps you. So, that's kind of where I'm at. So, hey, Clayton. So, that's kind of where I'm at. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? How do you feel where we're at? You feel like you can wait 60 days to find out what happens with Measure 114? Is that something you're able to do? Because I'm curious there. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, please do. Just let me know. And that's the thing, you guys. Like, I am always available. That's to my own downfall, right? So if you guys have ideas, if you have questions, if you have comments, there's something you don't like, let me know. Okay. I don't have an ego about this stuff. I typically, if something comes and somebody comes sideways at me, like, I hear them out, because I think it's important for people to be able to get what their thoughts are out, so I can hear them and then kind of explain my position. And we can either agree to disagree on the situation, or I can improve my position. Okay. And a lot of this stuff is I improve my position by you guys, the sounding board. Okay. So that's, everything I do is about messaging and how I get better at what I'm trying to do. It is what it is. 100%, Larry. And so, that's where, rest mod. Yes, we got to be positive. That's the only thing that we have going for us, is our mindset, right? And so if we get defeated, we act emotionally, we react, and things don't go the way we need them to go. Okay. So that's awesome. Good for you. Good for you. I hope you get it. I hope you exercise that right, because if you don't exercise that right, they will continue to try to restrict that right. And so, I was blown away being in Arizona. It was so many states where these people, they can't even carry a gun. They have no idea the stuff that we take for granted here. Like the people in New Jersey, if they get caught with a gun, like if they will. I met a lady that I've known a while. Her name was Teresa Inneker. Tremendous lady, right? She was a pit bull. Anyways, and she can actually try cases at the Supreme Court level, which was really cool to learn about that. Anyways, I kind of nerded out on some of it, but anyways, she was talking about how there's been people in her state, in New Jersey, that have this LTC, they call a license to carry, and they've been pulled over. They didn't have a gun with them, but the way it works in New Jersey, they have a duty to notify, and they didn't even have a gun in the car, but they had the LTC, license to carry, and they didn't notify law enforcement because they didn't have a gun on them, and they were actually arrested for that. So, I mean, we have to thank our lucky stars here. Okay. There's so many states out there that have it worse than us, but they are trying to change us into those other states. And that's why we have to make sure that we stay up to date. And so that's the only thing is those other states, Some of my guys that I met with this weekend that I've seen for years, I had a gun on me. Nobody knew. I was concealed, but it was weird because these people are gun rights, but they don't have the ability to carry a gun. And I'm like, it's something I do every day. So, yeah, it could, but it could happen here, Clayton. That's the thing, is we are literally pen strokes away from that happening here if those lift every voice got their way. And so that's why we have to learn and we have to get better and we have to fight. We have to fight where like we're the third alligator on Noah's Ark. You know what I mean? So, that's kind of where I'm at. And I feel that we're coming around and we're moving in the right direction. Okay. And it just takes work going forward. So, you know, yeah, it's Brian. I love your insight and your perspective. I appreciate your messages. You know, we just got to stay positive. Like, just know I can go buy a 17 round magazine. I can go buy a 30 round magazine. Okay. There's nothing they can do. State of Oregon can do nothing. Okay. So that makes me feel good. And so, you know, yes, we do. Yes, we do. And we have to, that's the biggest thing going forward is we have to get our neighbors involved when it comes to that short session because we don't know what bills are going to come at us with. They could retry 348, which is basically measure 114 with some little changes to it. Okay, so they could totally do that again. And we're going to have a short session. They're going to move on us and we're going to sit here. And so we're going to have to blow up the phones. We're going to have to do what we did last time. We're going to have to be in the building. It's going to be a fight. And it's a short session though. It's like 60 days. Okay, so we can make it 60 days without this stuff going into effect. We're going to be in good shape. And so, yeah. Yep. Well, I think the hardest part for me when I was at the conference the other day was seeing the average age of the people who were there. The people I've been seeing for years, the average age there was 70 years old. And so I think that's why my message resonated because they're like, I talked about succession plans. Like, you guys should have a succession plan. Okay. And it's okay to understand that you've been doing this for 30 to 40 years, but technology's changed. Our society has changed. And so it's okay to yield to those that are younger and energetic and are engaged and have different ways of outreaching to the public. And that was kind of where I was getting at with my speech is it's okay. You've done your work. You've got us this far. Let's let somebody else have a seat at the table that can move this in a way that we need it to move. Because without the next generation, we're going to have nothing. And, you have to look at the next generation. Do you know many kids that could be would be showing up in Salem or writing testimony or writing emails, doing the stuff that we're doing? You know how many 18 to 25-year-olds would be doing that? Probably not. And so that's why we have to protect what we have and we also have to grow what we have. So that's kind of where I'm at. Just give me 1 second. Okay. All better. So, that's kind of where we're at. So it all depends on how much you travel, Larry. So that's kind of where we're at. So, I don't want to focus on that aspect because like that's a personal thing. Okay. That personal thing doesn't necessarily get us closer to where we need to be. And I'm working on that, Jeff. That's what I'm working on. I will have all these things available as soon as I can. What I will be doing though is I'm going to be, going on some radio shows, and so I'll publicize the stuff that I'm talking about with them here. And so, you know, that's kind of what we'll do. And we'll just get a plan of attack. I mean, everybody else is really, really busy. And so I'm going to give a week or so, and I'm going to start reaching out to people and say, hey, this is what we're going to be doing. Maybe I can plan it where I'm going to maybe I can do a one a week or something where we, do another listen and learn. I enjoyed doing the listen and learn. And I just, I need to do a better time where you got more people can tune in and get involved. And so that's kind of where I'm at. So it just takes time, you know? So, let's see here. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, a right is a right. So a right is delayed. A right delayed is a right denied. Okay, everybody has the right to carry a firearm the way they see fit within reason, within the bounds of the law. Okay, depending on the municipality is what changes what we can do with that gun, and so preemption is a big part of that. That's something we should be focusing on. And so, that's kind of where I'm at. You know, so. But other than that, does anybody have anything else that? Yeah, I need to get over to Eastern Oregon, Bill. There was talks of me going back to Harney County, and I might go back there depending on my schedule and what I have going on. But I definitely I love that part of the state. It's a beautiful part of the state, great people, and so that's kind of I feel kind of drawn over there because of the people and the time that I spend over there, and it's definitely better than here in Eugene. So we'll see. It all depends on the weather and whether my schedule frees up or not. I'm trying to stay busy. So, but I have friends over there. I've met a lot of friends through this situation. I'm hoping you guys pay attention. You guys see value in the stuff that I do and want to get involved with me because it's really important. If we don't get involved, we can't blame others for us not getting involved. And that's kind of where I'm at. So. That's kind of the thing. So anything else? We're at 42 minutes and I'm just kind of just know that, if we're going to, I guess, close out on this this is a great question right here. This is a great question right here. So that's something I know a lot about. So we have to make it fun. Okay. We have to make it fun. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of emotion from either social media, teachers, all this other stuff. There's people that are not familiar with guns that, they could be teenagers, they could be young adults. And so if we don't get to them in a way where we can almost mentor them and bring like a great person to bring up in this conversation is Kyle Meter. And this is a guy, he's younger than me, and I really, really respect him. And I enjoy the conversations that we have together. And I like where his mind's at, and he is of that next generation. And so, obviously we need people younger than him. We need people that are turning 18 because we need votes. We need to make sure that we get every vote that we can get. It's going to be really, really important going forward. And, with those votes and with these guns and these new gun rights and these new freedoms that these adults are now starting to find, we have to show them how important those votes are into protecting those rights. We have to teach them civics. We have to the schools aren't teaching civics. Okay. The schools are indoctrinating the kids. They want, group thought. They don't want individualism. They don't want independent thought. That's the biggest challenge that we face is we need we need free thinkers. We need people that are going to analyze data. We need people that are going to be okay thinking for themselves and be uncomfortable. We have to be uncomfortable alone, and it's okay to be uncomfortable alone. And they have to understand that their strength will come as they get older. Their strength will come as they surround themselves with other like-minded, strong people, right? And so, yeah, that's another great example. So, shooting sports. I met with a youth sporting group down there in Arizona. They had a rifle team, and some of these guys, they brought home 15 Olympic medals. These kids, they were selling raffle tickets to fundraise. They were 17 years old. They were shooting M1 Garands at higher power matches. They were my heroes. Okay. And it was great to speak with them. And so that was awesome, because I see them, pushing our 2A rights and a good thing. But they're in Arizona. Arizona is a very gun friendly state. I've seen things where it's the most gun friendly state in the country. Okay. So that's great. They have a real serious gun culture there. Okay. They have lots of gun stores. Guns are everywhere. Constitutional carry. It'll work in that state. It's not going to work in this state. And so, that's the thing. And so, I just, I want you guys to understand there's a lot that goes into this. And so if we teach them that this is fun and it's not scary, and we empower, we mentor them, and then we show them how their votes are tied directly to their rights, maybe we can wake them up. I'm like, between you and me, I'm a single issue voter. I'm a gun voter. Okay. I'm going to vote for who's going to represent my rights the best, either in a way that's going to move it in a way where I'm going to get rights back, or they're going to hold that line. Okay. Period. And so, it limits me some, because that's what I look at is like, hey, how are you going to vote on my guns? Are you going to protect my rights, or are you going to be a liability to my rights? But that's just me, because I'm kind of a freak like that. It's just because I put all of my energy into this. Okay. I put all of my emotion into this. I travel, so it's just a lot. So it's all I can say. Perfect. I would say, I would like to know is like, what are some of our qualifications? Does anybody have any graphic design experience? Does anybody have, web experience? I mean, it'd be really great to have a website. It'd be really great to be able to have a place where that way we're not so dependent on Facebook. And if something were to happen to the group because we make a mistake and we get zucked, then where's all of this? It just goes away. So yeah. The problem is, though, is the people where I'm going to find that right here. There's always those ones that say they're pro 2A, but okay. So we have to do a better job of vetting candidates and making sure those candidates are worthy of our vote. Okay. And a prime example is what happened with the senators, right? That came back. I mean, we just needed them to be gone for 6 days and they came back. So, that's something where I struggle. Like, I don't want to go scorched earth on them, but there's got to be some sort of accountability there, because they have one job, and one job was to stay gone, and they came back with 6 days, and that's what gave us, House Bill 2005, so, and also 2002, so, don't think for a second. No, why can't I have an F-15? Why can't I have an M1 Abrams tank if I can afford it? Okay. If we knew the true definition of my Second Amendment rights, I would be able to have the same type of equipment as the government, because that was our Second Amendment rights wasn't for hunting. Okay. So, but I'm not gonna get too upset. That's just me. So I like to collect them. You know, I find they're just interesting. I had a great conversation with my friend Rob Campbell. I wish I was on the radio with him last night and his sister, and because he's just he's a gun nut and he just knows everything about guns. And okay, well, I'll say this: Pixar didn't happen, right? I'm just kidding. Don't show it. We don't need that on here. So that's what I've been saying. They don't listen because they're scared. Okay, because they want to do bad things to you. They want to force you to do things that you don't want to do behind your against your will, and that's why they want your rifles. It's not about, because the data doesn't lie. Rifles kill less than 400 people a year, and that's all rifles, not just semi-automatic rifles. Okay, so we're losing 1,200 citizens a day or a year to fentanyl in Oregon alone. So if it's truly the problem that they think it is, and obviously the 400 rifles is across the country, so it's not the problem that they say it is. So just it's all a distraction. It takes away from their failures, right? And so their failures, there's too many to list. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at. Is, excuse me, it's on my lip. Had a tomato. So agenda. I don't want to get too tinfoil. I think there might be some value to that. Oh, but I guess my thing here is prove that there is an agenda. My thing is I don't want to get too but there's too many things that just they're fishy, right? And why are we sending all this equipment to Ukraine and all those other parts of the world when we have citizens here? We have a border that's porous, and we have people that are coming across the border. So there's just a lot to it. Okay, and I don't want to get off the rails here. And well, I'll talk about this one right here. 65 of those is suicide. Okay, 65 people a day lose their lives to suicide. Okay, about 85% of those are going to be by gun. Okay, because gun is lethal. Okay, these people have another thing I want to bring up, and this is something I'll bring up for you guys to kind of weigh in. Is there anybody that's interested in QPR training? So QPR training is suicide prevention. Would there be anybody that would be interested in that? And I think it costs $25, 2-hour class. I have a partner from Pennsylvania that puts on and we can do it online. And so it just gives you the tools that you need to make sure that you can help save others in a time of need. And I'm going to take it myself. And so what I was thinking about opening up to the group is if there's anybody that would find any interest in QPR training, it'd be really, really important in rural communities because, the average age of suicide in Oregon is about 60 to 65, and it's in rural counties. And so that's why, it's something that, it's really important that I'm really mindful of my mental health. And so I try to check in with everybody. I do buddy checks and make sure we're all thinking about our mental health. It's a really difficult time right now. Oh, so what I'll do is I'll put together like a thing where you guys can sign up for it. I'll talk to my friend Sarah and see what her schedule's like, and then I'll put up a thing where you guys can get registered and we'll do it online. Because I think is a really important thing. It'll give you can get it. It'll help you understand kind of some of the stuff that we're dealing with in here in Oregon, because we're talking about like Measure 114 is they kind of did a hard pivot because they weren't getting the response from gun owners that they wanted. And so they did this hard pivot during their campaign. And then they said, oh, it's going to help prevent suicide. No, it's not going to help prevent suicide. So I feel that if we had enough people interested in doing QPR training and we did the QPR training, this is another thing that we could put in our hats, that we could show the other side that we have meaningful solutions that we're trying to bring to the state of Oregon. And so this would be another way to discredit the stuff that they're doing. And so, this is all like stuff I'm doing. Yeah. Poor Hawaii. I got friends there. It's sad. It breaks my heart, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. If I can get enough people to make her worth her while, because she is a nonprofit, and if we can donate, I think they request a suggested donation of $25, and that helps them with their overhead. And she's a great lady, and so I think that would be a really good thing for gun owners, is to show that, because it'll help you with children, also teens. Teen suicide is way up in Oregon because of, obviously, all the stuff they're being fed in the schools, social media. The best thing you can do for your children is get them off social media. If you really love your children and are concerned about their future, limit and moderate their social media intake. Okay. Really, really important. And so, that's leading to an uptick in teen suicide, because they're isolated. They've been, bullying each other. Their self-worth isn't as much, as because that one girl over there is getting all these likes and they're not getting the likes. So it's a really bad thing. The best thing we can do is pull them off it, or make sure you moderate it. Say, hey, you don't need 6 hours a day on Facebook or whatever app you're using, because it's not good for you. So that's another thing. Wow. God bless you. Thank you for doing that, Josh. And it's always a 5 to 10 second, or 5 to 10 minute moment of crisis. Okay. It's always, she never, yeah. Thank you for doing that. You'll never, ever know how much that impacted that person's life. And so that's great. That's great. I'm so happy you did that. So, I don't want, there's kind of a lot of stuff that we talked about today, and obviously I'm going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to get off here, because I just got home. I just got my dog back today, which I haven't had my dog for 10 days. Cause I've been on the road for 10 days, and I'm going to spend some time with my dog. And so, yep. Because it is a bad bill, bad bill. And so just stay focused, stay positive. Just know that, we're going to be okay, because we're, at the end of the day, we got each other, right? We're in this together. We're not alone. Okay. Nobody has to feel alone. We're in this together. And so where one goes, we all go. Okay. In theory, as long as it's in the right direction. Okay. We're not going backwards. I'll tell you that much. We're going forward to the finish line. And so, that's what's really, really important. So, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to start working on building these databases that I need, so everybody's going to see the stuff that I see when I go to these conferences. You guys are going to know the people that I know. I had a great conversation with John Lott, nerded out on that. It's just those events are so great. Who else did I see? Mark Smith, that was really cool. Listen to him talk. I was jacked up when I heard, Mark Smith talk. And then when I got that signature on the book, I mean, I was really happy with that. So who else did I see? John Correa. Had a great conversation with him. I'm going to do some stuff with him. I also talked to Turning Point USA. I don't want to talk too much about that, but I had a great meeting with them. And so we're going to do some stuff together with Turning Point USA. So things went in a direction that I need them to go. And I'm really, really thankful that I went, and I'm glad you guys got to tune in and be a part of it. And I want to see more people there next year. It's really, really important you guys go. Like, it's by far the best event I go to. So, that's where I'm at, and so it doesn't cost. I mean, it costs you airline tickets and a hotel room, that's, other than that, it just, they pay for everything. I brought home 30 books. So I have a library. That's another thing I want to work on with you guys. I have a 2A library here. I literally have 200 2A books. Okay. These are all different topics, all about the 2A. Some of them are about, lawful self-defense. Or, Masada Ayub. Oh yeah, I saw him too. Had a great conversation with him, helped him with his bags. It was cool. And so what I would love to do is figure out a way that I'm like um, a library. And so you guys can check them out. I'll just mail them to you. You mail them back and you pay for your shipping. So I'm not out of money, but I would love to send them to people so they can read them and they can send them back to me and then I can just check them out. You know what I mean? And that way you guys can increase your knowledge on some of this stuff. And there's some really, really good books going all the way back to 1791 and the founding of our R2A. And so I have, hundreds of them at this point. And so I want to put them to good use. And instead of taking up a bookshelf, or a couple bookshelves, I'd love to figure out a way for you guys to, and Kyle, you have my book. I need to get that back. So no pressure. Wink, wink, nod, nod. But so that's kind of where I'm at. Let's look at this one. No problem, Sean. No, there's no good. There's no news. So it's good news. Okay. So just be patient. It's going to take time and everything's going to work out the way we need it to work out. Well, we don't want this ruling to be rushed. We're in deliberation now. So we're waiting for the judge. So it's all out of our hands. So now we're going to focus on something else. So I brought up QPR training earlier. I talked about the legislature stuff we should be doing there. I talked about other orgs from all over the country. We should be networking. We should be learning from them. And I'll put together a list of people that we should be following. I'll put a list of YouTubers and people that I follow in the industry that you guys should follow as well, so you can learn from too. There's a lot of like smoke and mirrors in the industry, but there's people that I do trust and I do respect. And so there's, I try to steer people in a way. Yeah, you're 100% right there. We want it bomb proof. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm not going to pressure it. So one thing what you guys to think about is we're not going to put stuff wondering where this decision is. Okay. We're just going to let it lie. It's out of our hands. We're going to just focus on the next steps and it's going to come and hopefully we're going to get the one we need. So other than that, I think I'm going to wrap it up here so I can enjoy my doggo. So other than that, anybody else have anything? Okay. So what I'll do is I'll reach out to Sarah and say I got people that are interested and I'll make an official. Yeah. That'd be really nice. That'd be really, really nice, to be honest with you. Thank you, Brian. I would like that too, because that's how I pay the bills. And so if people need training, I want to be a resource for you. And so please let me know if you guys need training. I do Oregon, Utah concealed carry. I do live fire training as well. A couple different places. And, I'm going to, a shameless plug here just because of the sheer amount of time and effort and energy I put into this. This stuff is not free. This stuff costs me a tremendous amount. And the only way I'm able to keep afloat is through training. And so if you guys need training, I would love to be that resource. And so I appreciate that support. Also, the Kids Safe Foundation, we're a 501c3 nonprofit. So if there's anybody out there that owns a company that would love to help benefit the next generation, I can give you a tax deductible receipt and you guys can help shape the future Oregon gun owners. Okay. So there's my shameless plug. I don't do it very often, but I feel that I've earned it. So I'm ending on that note. So thank you so much. I appreciate you guys tuning in and we will all touch base soon. Have a great night.